Good morning. Hope you got a nice strong cup of coffee to help you through your day. 13 days to go and wake up till the election, and who knows what's going to happen after that. I was told by a friend of mine that a local business is no longer signing contracts after today for any day further out than election day until after election day because they don't know. They don't know if they can operate under the new environment. Interesting times we live in, isn't it? Good morning, Scott. How are you? We have such a diversity of thought, or lack thereof, in the two candidates running for president. I need this coffee. As you're jumping on, say hi to me. Let me know that you're there. If you don't say hi to me, I won't know that you're there because of the software I'm using. But if you say hi, I'll try to say hi back to you. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Today is October 21st, 2020, 7:48 a.m. I hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Mike Cook, coming to you live from Central Missouri. All my Patriot brothers and sisters out there, how are you doing? I go by Patriot Mike on Rumble and on Facebook. I'm on Rumble now. How do you find me? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll post a link or something. I got my first video up there today. What is Rumble? Rumble is owned partially by Dan Bongino. YouTube is owned by Google. So we all know what that means. And if I suddenly disappear on Facebook or on YouTube, look for me on MeWe, look for me on Parler, look for me on Rumble, because I will be there also. I'm trying to spread it around. Probably a good idea that you spread yourself around also, because as we can see, Facebook and Google and Twitter are choosing sides or have chosen sides. So where are we at today? That's what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about where we're at today. What do we know? I really want to talk about, tell you the truth, what's happening with Joe Biden and this breaking news this week. I'm going to give you a timeline, and I want you to understand the ramifications of this, even though that people like Adam Schiff have come out and said that this is Russian propaganda. Where have you heard that before? Don't know. And even though that 50 former intelligence officers in the Obama administration have come out and said that they don't have any evidence and they don't have any proof, but this sure looks like Russian misinformation to them. We're talking about Leon Panetta and John Bremer and James Clapper and all these people. Where have you heard those names before? Russia. Here they go again. It's all Russia misinformation. So let's back up. Let's go back to about 18 months ago. And Hunter Biden, after getting down on his crack and horror binge, he takes some laptops, MacBook Pros, that have been water damaged. I think the number was 3 of them. How do you get 3 MacBook Pros be water damaged? Whole lot of unanswered questions here. Anyways, so he takes them to this repair shop. We have repair shops right here in Central Missouri that will repair things like this. And it says, can you save them? And they sign the documents, which we've seen, and go about their way. So the repair guy proceeds to determine that 2 of the MacBook Pros are beyond saving. You can't save any information. They're toast. But one of them, he was able to save the hard drive. So he contacted Hunter Biden to no avail. The phone had been disconnected. Couldn't get a hold of him. So he's done this work, and he hasn't been paid. So after some time of trying to figure out, good morning, Gerald, how are you? Trying to figure out what the heck happened to his client, he decides to snoop around on the hard drive to see if he can find some information on how to get a hold of this guy so he can get paid for the services provided. Leave it to a liberal not to pay somebody. So while he's snooping around on this hard drive, he comes across photographs, pictures of Hunter Biden in certain, how shall we say, compromising positions with hookers, whores, underage girls, and crack pipes. I don't know. But that's what they find. But more importantly, they find a treasure trove of some 25, 30,000 emails where there's communications between Hunter Biden and foreign adversaries of the United States of America, foreign companies, foreign diplomats. There's communications between Hunter Biden and his family. Communications such as him telling his family to shut up and get in line and remember that 50% of the proceeds has to go to Pop. Or communication saying that 10% of this particular deal has to go to the big guy and that Hunter's going to hold it for him. I don't know who Pop is or the big guy. Maybe we could figure that out. But what I want you to really understand is the timelining of this. This information was discovered 18 months ago or so by this shopkeeper in an effort to repair this computer. He called the FBI and said, hey, I've got this information on this computer. I can't get a hold of this guy. The FBI comes down with a search warrant and seizes the computers and the hard drives and the information. Now, this shopkeeper, who probably has seen the memes on Facebook to talk about people that have dirt against high-ranking Democrats in this country tend to commit suicide. He made copies of this information and handed it to several friends as an insurance policy. If something ever happens to me, release this information. Then we get Russia. This time last year, we were going through the impeachment trial or getting ready to start the impeachment trial all the way up into January when we impeached the president of the United States of America in the House. He was not removed in the Senate, but he was impeached in the House by the Democrats in a straight party line vote. What did we impeach him for? We impeached him for a phone call he made last summer to the then newly anointed president of Ukraine and asked him to look into if there's any truth to what Hunter and Joe Biden was doing with Burisma. Now, the FBI had this information. What information is that? At the time that Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, was impeached by the Congress in a straight party line vote. They did not give this information that I'm about to say that was on this hard drive to anybody that maybe could help. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's raining really hard right now. That maybe could help in the defense of Donald J. Trump. They withheld this information. In those emails, there's a communication between a high-ranking official of the company Burisma. Burisma, as I've stated before in other videos, is the largest oil, natural gas fracking company in Europe. While we're trying to destroy oil, natural gas, and fracking in the United States, we are getting the vice president of the United States' son is making $50,000 a month from the oil, natural gas fracking company in Europe. I'm sure that's not a coincidence. But because of this relationship, there was a prosecutor in Ukraine that was looking into Burisma, that was looking into their money laundering, that was looking into their criminal activity. It's owned by an oligarch, what do you call him? You know, a Russian mafia guy. And they do a bunch of bad stuff. And they were looking into this company. And this big wig at Burisma got a hold of Hunter Biden and said, can you hook me up with your daddy, the vice president? And then there's another email that says, thank you, Hunter, for setting us up with a meeting with your father. It was very productive, and I'd like to have lunch with you before I leave the country. Joe Biden has denied meeting with this feller from Burisma, even though there's a 3-hour missing time spot in his schedule on the day and the time that supposedly happened. So, a few weeks later, Joe Biden is in Ukraine. Joe Biden is Barack Obama's point man on foreign policy, on American policy in Ukraine. He's in Ukraine telling the president and some of his staff people that if they don't fire the prosecutor, they're not going to get the $1 billion. And I have played this for you in one of my videos. Check back a little bit. He brags about it. Joe Biden brags about this in the Council of Foreign Relations at a convention in Europe on camera. He brags about it. He says, I told them, if they don't fire the prosecutor, they're not going to get the $1 billion. They said, you can't do that. We'll call the president. He said, call him. Call him. He said, I'm getting on a plane in 6 hours. If you ain't fired the prosecutor in 6 hours before I get on the plane, you don't get the $1 billion. That's $1 billion of your dollars, your money. He was using American taxpayer money as leverage to bail the company out that his son was working for and getting $50,000 a month, when the only experience that his son had in tracking is with women. But that's a whole different issue. That's a whole different anyways, I digress. I move on. So he says you don't get the $1 billion. And all of a sudden he says, son of a bitch, they fired the prosecutor and they replaced him with somebody we like. In other words, somebody that won't investigate Burisma. Donald J. Trump called the next president of the United States, the one that replaced this president, said, can you look into this and see if there's any truth to this? And for that phone call, the president of the United States of America was impeached on a party line vote by the House in 2020, January 2020, while the FBI had a hard drive in their possession with emails from Hunter Biden, or back and forth between Hunter Biden and Burisma, that confirmed that the vice president of the United States had a meeting with Burisma prior to firing this prosecutor. My friends, they impeached the president of the United States knowing that what he said on that phone call was absolutely 100% true. They impeached the president of the United States in an attempt to cover up what the now candidate for the Democrat Party for president of the United States did. Do you understand what I am saying to you? Richard Nixon's political career was destroyed. He resigned as president of the United States. He quit because there was 3 minutes of missing audio tape when some of his staffers broke into the Democratic headquarters at Watergate Hotel in Washington, D.C. Those 3 minutes, supposedly, we don't know because we never found him, implicated President Nixon, and he resigned rather than be impeached. We have 3 hours of missing timeline on the day that Joe Biden supposedly met with the leaders of Burisma a few weeks before he asked the president of the United States and told him the president of Ukraine, saying you're not going to get the $1 billion in foreign aid, the $1 billion in taxpayer money, the $1 billion that was not his, leverage to defend the company that his son got $50,000 a month from. It's a good gig if you could get it. And remember that there are emails within Hunter Biden's laptop that says that you got to give half of the money to the big man. Who was he talking to? He was talking to other family members like Joe Biden's brother. Joe Biden's brother got $1.8 billion to build housing in Iraq. That's right. That must be because Joe Biden's brother owned a large construction company and has built several thousand houses and knows what he's doing. No, he doesn't know. He did not own a construction company. He's never owned a construction company. He's never built a doghouse. But yet he gets a contract for $1.8 billion to build houses in Iraq. And he has to give half of that to the big guy. How is it that Joe Biden owns several multi-million-dollar homes? You know, Lunchbox Joe, you know, Ride the Train Home to Scranton Joe. How does he own several multi-million-dollar houses around the northeast of this country on a salary of $300-something thousand a year? Could it be that he's been selling his position to the highest bidder? Could it be that when he flew over to China because he was the point man, the China foreign policy under the Barack Obama administration, with Hunter in the plane, and Hunter comes away with a $1.8 billion deal to a then just started up hedge fund started by him and Chris Hines, who happens to be John Kerry, who served in Vietnam, stepson. They started a company that was funded by the communist Chinese to the tune of $1.8 billion, and then the company went defunct, went bankrupt. Joe, what'd you offer for that money? And it's not just his brother. It's all of his family members got these cushy jobs that they don't have any experience for, but they have to give Pop part of the money. They have to give the big guy part of the money. Joe Biden says he never got any of that money because it's not in his tax returns. Well, no kidding. Let's see. We're holding leverage of foreign policy to foreign companies and foreign governments in exchange for cash rewards to my family members, who then give me part of the money. I'm going to report that on my taxes? Okay, Al Capone. Really? My friends, I will not say that Joe Biden is the most corrupt politician that's ever served this country, or served up this country, I should say. I think Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are more corrupt than him by far. He's just dumb enough to get caught. And he got caught. Big time. If Joe Biden wins the presidential election, they won't go, the Democrats are going to throw him under the bus. And it won't be because he's losing his mind with Alzheimer's. It'll be because of this scandal. The Democrats will line up with the Republican and do their patriotic duty to impeach this president and remove him from office so that Kamala Harris will be president, and who knows, will be vice president. And who knows, will be running this country. I'm telling you right now, I'm predicting the future that if Joe Biden wins, he will not make it the first 6 months. They will team up with him to throw him under the bus to make all this go away, because this is the gravy train that these politicians, Republican and Democrats, have been playing on this country for 50, 60, 100 years, however long it's been. This is the military-industrial complex that was mentioned about 30, 40 years ago. This is how politicians get rich. Right here. It's how Nancy Pelosi got rich and Chuck Schumer got rich. It's how they all got rich. And they will throw Biden under the bus and bury him with the bus to make sure the gravy train continues. That's all I got to say this morning. 20 minutes is pretty long enough. You guys have a great day. Remember to comment and share and like my videos. It does help me. Check me out on YouTube. Check me out on Rumble. Check me out on Parler. I appreciate you all jumping on, saying hi to me. You guys have a great day.